Decluttering your living space can bring this sense of peace and calm and happiness to your home, but it's really common for people on their declutter journey to at some point hit these roadblocks and stall points. And so today we're going to be exploring just that. And as usual, I'll give you some actionable tips to get you back on track. If we haven't met yet, what's up? My name is Katie Wells. I'm the host of this channel, the Maximize Minimalist podcast. And my favorite thing in the world is helping families just like yours declutter their homes, simplify their lives so they can focus on who and what matters most. So let's dive into how to make more progress. Are you ready? Let's go. Number one, you stopped taking action. Now, hear me out. I know this sounds obvious, but some of you on the other end of this video are going to have a light bulb moment. How do I know? Because I was you at some point. When I set a goal to declutter my home, and just like you are wanting to simplify your home as well, what do we often do? In order to reach said goal, we go and gather information, right? We listen to podcasts, we watch YouTube videos like these. Maybe you buy some books or get some books from the library to learn methods, strategy, checklists, habits, all the things that will help us reach that goal. And we start taking action and we're off to the races, we're making progress, and then life happens and we fizzle out, slow down, burn out, and stop taking action. So if you are constantly, or even sometimes just digesting information like these videos or podcasts or whatever, but you stopped implementing what you learned, this is a major stall point for people. Sometimes when we're learning and we know the information, we think we should be making progress, but there is a massive difference between having the knowledge and implementing and applying it. So this is your friendly reminder to get back into action taking mode. Put me in the phone in your back pocket even and grab a bag and just start decluttering and focus on progress, not perfection. Just begin to move the needle. And when you're getting back into action-taking mode, I want to share this simple hack, if you want to call it a hack, okay? Go to the basics, all right? The basics of decluttering. I talk about them frequently on this channel. Here's a few videos where I talk about them in detail if you haven't heard of them yet. But simple habits and basics like clutter audits, end cycling, daily resets to handle expected mess. Going back to the basics is so fruitful. Oftentimes when we think, oh, I got to get back into action-taking mode, I must need a new strategy or a new thing or new information first. But don't underestimate the value of the basics, right? Experts in any field of theirs are experts at the basics and they don't underestimate them. So when in doubt, go back to those. And before you know it, you're going to be back into making some major progress. Number two is decision fatigue. Yes or yes in the comments if you've ever experienced decision fatigue and it just feels hard to make really basic or simple decisions, especially toward the end of your day. I think we've all experienced this. I know I experience this on a daily basis. So decision fatigue is this: the more decisions made throughout the day, the harder each decision becomes for us, right? Sounding familiar? Eventually, our brains look for shortcuts to circumvent experiencing decision fatigue. Our brains are like, we don't want to get fatigued. We don't want to even think about this. So what do? Oftentimes it leads to poor decision making, and more often than not, procrastination. Oh boy, procrastination is like decision fatigue's best friend. It will come in and promise you, we'll do it tomorrow, we'll do it next week. Just relax. Don't make this decision right now. Oh my gosh, I used to experience this all the time. So some solutions for you if you're like, yes, this is me to a T. I have entire masterclasses, by the way, the A to Z roadmap for moving past decision fatigue in my Inner Circle one-on-one coaching program. However, here's some golden nuggets for you on the other side of the screen. Number one is to make decisions earlier in the day. And my preference is honestly the night before. So if I'm wondering at 5 p.m. what I'm going to make for dinner and I'm exhausted and I'm stuck in decision fatigue, it's going to be a real challenge. And likely that kale is going to go rotten in my fridge that I bought with the best intention on my Sunday meal plan. And I'm going to order DoorDash. That happens to so many of us. So to solve that, the day before I can plan out dinner, right? And maybe that is still pickup, but it's planned and I have it known in advance. Same thing for decluttering. Where am I going to declutter today? What space am I going to focus on for my 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever that looks like for you? Have it planned, because when you wake up, it's one less decision to make and you remove all the guesswork and so many many different friction points and opportunities for, you guessed it, procrastination to come in and be like, let's just do it tomorrow, right? No, you already have a plan. You figured it out the day before or the morning of. Dovetailing with figuring out a plan the night before or the morning of is to break the task into smaller bits. I know you've heard me say this a bajillion, trillion, cajillion times. Yes, I made that number up because I feel like I say it over and over. But going back to the first thing we talked about, you have the knowledge, you know to break overwhelming spaces into smaller chunks of time, right? A little bit here, a little bit there to make progress instead of getting stuck in overwhelm or analysis paralysis like we talk about in this video. But are you actually implementing that knowledge? Are you taking action with just 5 minutes and starting with 10 minutes here and there so you don't get overwhelmed and so you can move the needle forward? You have to give yourself permission to do it in chunks, and doing it imperfectly is still better than not doing it at all. And in the beginning, set a simple timer on your phone or the oven or the microwave, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and you'll discover some days if you have additional time, you'll be on a roll and you'll actually get more done. And even if you only get 5 minutes done, that's better than 0 minutes. And the reality is, listen, I know you are super busy. And when you do these smaller chunks, you establish these consistent habits that will serve you for a lifetime. Another super common reason for these stalls and declutter journeys are attachment to possessions, right? Many people struggle, maybe this is you, to let go of things due to emotional attachment, sentimentality, fear of regret, maybe even guilt because it was a gift or something a family member or a dear friend gave you and you feel bad considering letting go of it. I have entire episodes on the podcast and videos here on the channel. Definitely recommend you go give a listen. So I won't spend a ton of time here, but generally speaking, here is my advice. What most people don't realize is there are several different types of physical clutter. If you look at clutter like an onion, we all know the outer layer of an onion is the easiest to peel off. It comes off with barely any effort. Sometimes it just takes like boop and it pops off, right? This is what I call the outer layer of clutter, the superficial clutter. This is the excess, unused, unneeded, unwanted. It's the stuff that's obvious clutter. It's not difficult to let go of. It's just a matter of you taking action, scheduling the time, and making it happen. You don't have to question, do I keep? You don't need a lot of tools in your toolbox, so to speak, to let it go. This is superficial clutter. What most people do on their declutter journey is tackle that first, which yes, I recommend that anyway, but then they stop. Right? They stop. They don't dig deeper into the deeper layers of that physical clutter onion. And the reality is superficial clutter is not the bulk of clutter in most people's homes. I would say maybe 10 to 20% of the cumulative clutter. And the deeper layers of clutter, I'm talking about aspirational clutter, the things you hang on to that maybe were previous hobbies or things that have to do with someone or a goal you're trying to reach. Sentimental clutter, like we just talked about. Scarcity clutter. What if I need that one day? I'm afraid to let go. This could come in handy. These are the bulk of clutter in people's homes. So if you are constantly feeling like you're taking 1 step forward, 3 steps back, stalling, 1 step forward, 3 steps back, stalling, you are probably only focusing on the superficial clutter. It's time to dig deeper. And hear me out. I know this is easy for me to say as someone who has no attachment to your things, but I've had to go through my own stuff, and I am still a human, even though I'm a declutter expert, and I've had to work through and process a lot of this too. So one question that comes up for a lot of us, either consciously or subconsciously, when we're tackling this type of sentimental and what I call core clutter is, who am I without my stuff? Who am I if I don't have these boxes of college trophies and college textbooks that represent this part of my life, right? The blood, sweat, tears, identity I have with my career, with my diploma, with my, accolades from track, college, etc. This is just one example. It's really common for a lot of these things to become this physical material representation of like a season of life or actually a part of us. And so things come up when we're trying to declutter. Like, if I get rid of these trophies and books, will I remember this season? Maybe you remember how proud your family members were, or you were of yourself during this season of life. And you're like, maybe I won't ever feel as proud of myself. Maybe all the best years are behind me. All of these beliefs start to come up during the process. And you really got to tune in to listen to them. But once you do, here is my recommendation. Declutter your beliefs, and then you'll be able to declutter the thing. And here's another great example. I was just working with one of my coaching clients in my inner circle, and she is a young mom with 2 young girls, and she was sharing how she really struggles to let go of her daughter's artwork. So I worked with her, and we got to the root of the belief that was kind of keeping her stuck. She knew there was too much. She didn't want to keep and couldn't keep all of the artwork, but literally physically couldn't take action, even though she knew what to do. And here's why. When we got to the root of it, she realized that her biggest success as a parent was like represented by her daughter's creativity, imagination, and really these outpourings of artwork. She felt like she was a success as a parent. And that was one of the only moments she felt like, oh, wow, I'm really shining. Because I know if you're in a season of parenthood like me, and her, like a lot of times we just feel like failures. But this was like this reminder to her how she was really raising these 2 amazing girls and was one of the only representations of that she had in her home. So to this mom, it wasn't just decluttering artwork. It was like decluttering a reminder of her success and achievements in parenthood, so to speak, right? And that hits us differently and makes it so much more challenging to let it go. So again, going back to what I said earlier, declutter the belief, and then you'll be able to declutter the thing. That's how you have to do it with these deeper layers of clutter. All right, friend, it's time to end the declutter plateau. Take action, implement what you already know, get back to the basics, start small, and get into the deeper layers of that physical clutter onion. And while you're here, I would love to invite you, if you need more support, to my upcoming 14-day declutter challenge. Each day, you get 1 simple task delivered to your inbox, as well as 10 trainings from me and our amazing community to help support you and push you and motivate you along the way. I hope to see you there. I'll put that link in the description box. Ready, set, declutter. We'll see you next time.